Alright, I'm just gonna basically explain everything. So it starts off with the weekly breakdown of throwing. So the first 11 weeks you've already completed. That's just the shutdown phase. You are on week 12 right now. So you're on the on-ramp. On-ramp goes until week 16. So it starts at 50%, goes up by 10% each week. When you get to week 15 at 80%, that's when your recovery days and long toss days are starting to be different. On your recovery days, once you get to 80%, you're going to be at about 60%. Same with when you get to 90%. Your recovery days, you are not throwing at a high intent. That's when you start working on actually recovering on those days. The 80 and 90% are for your long toss days. And then once you complete week 16, you'll be onto the velocity phase. You have 2 weeks of that, and then you have 2 weeks of a velocity phase with a bullpen. I'll get more into what that it includes later on. Then you have a deload. This is basically just giving your arm a chance to recover. You're coming off a very high intent phase of your training, and then you go into mound weeks. You have 3 mound weeks. The first week, your biggest focus is pitch design. I don't remember what pitches you all throw. For your 4-seam, you want to increase the efficiency of that. If you're going to be throwing your 2-seam, which I think you should, it's really nasty. Work on getting that circle on the top left. Your slider, you throw more of a gyro slider, so making it sharper, break later, and a little bit more. If you throw a curveball, getting it to be more 12-6 or more what you want. Build it up a changeup. The next week is location. You're going to be using 4-app for this. You're going to want to record your bullpens. What I do is I record my bullpen, go back and watch the video, mark each pitch into 4-app as I'm watching it. And rewatching bullpens is a really good thing, I think, because it helps you go over everything without being in the heat of the moment and understand what you need to work on. I would also really appreciate it if you send me the videos from the bullpen if you do end up recording them. And then the next week after location is game situations. This is building you up into actually being able to throw into the game. You'll have stand-in batters for all 3 of these weeks. You don't need one for the velocity phase with the bullpen. This will just help you with throwing to an actual batter instead of just throwing a bullpen. I do think it's important to just throw bullpens without thinking about game situations or anything like that, and purely focusing on executing that one pitch. But I'm working with not very much time, and I just have to get in what I can. So next we'll go into lifting. We've been lifting. So you've completed the on-ramp, the hypertrophy phase, the deload. Then we're on the last week of the strength phase right now. Next week is supposed to be a deload. That's going to be a little tricky with you doing max outs for school next week, but because if anything, you need it more than I do, because you've been in football, school weights, all that you need that deload to let your body fully recover. And then we go into the power phase. We have 3 weeks of the power phase, and then we transition into a power/speed phase. So it's still a big focus on power, but it's also focused on moving fast, not just moving a lot of weight as fast as you can. Then after that, you'll have a deload. After week 19 is when I will have my surgery and won't be able to lift with you or do your throwing with you. And then after your deload on week 20, you go into a hybrid phase. This is a mix of strength, power, and like being fast. It's you could transition this workout as your or use this workout as your in-season workout. I think it'd be very good once you get in season. I'd only lift like 2 times a week, but this puts a really big focus on just having your body as well prepped as possible. So now you've done the on-ramp, or you've done all the lifting. I'm still going to go over it just so you understand like the thought process behind it. So for the on-ramp, you've squat, RDLs, lunges, and calf raises. That's just or lateral lunges. That builds up everything that you need to be able to go into the hypertrophy phase. And then for upper body, of dumbbell bench, lat pull downs, lateral raises, curls, skull crushers. That's the same thing. It works each of the upper body muscles and prepares you for what you needed in the hypertrophy phase. The hypertrophy is like stimulating the muscle to grow. So it's usually higher reps. It's not like a set thing. You can still grow with 3 to 5 reps, but I feel like the higher the reps, the more you'll grow. So I did an Arnold split. That's chest and back, legs, and then arms and shoulders. It's not everyone likes that. It's just what I like to do. If you didn't like it, we can do something else next. Actually, there won't be a next year. That's kind of sad to think about. So I did chest and back, dumbbell rows for the chest, cable rows for the back, and then an incline bench for like the upper chest, and then lat pull downs for the lats again. That's just so you have a row variation and a lat and a pull down variation. And then I ended it off with chest flies to get your chest in a very stretched position. And then for legs, we had front squat because you can get a lot deeper in front squat. I personally don't like front squat, but I threw it in because it is what is best for us at that point. And then lunges. Lunges are a very good exercise to build strength and like stimulate the muscle. And then leg curls and leg extensions, those are both isometric exercises. They focus on specifically the quad and specifically the hamstring. And then you have calf raises. And then arms, you have shoulder press to help build up your strength in your shoulders, especially for you with most of your pain being in your front delt. I felt it was important for you to strengthen and make your front delt bigger and your shoulders bigger. And then lateral raises, that's to build the lateral head of your shoulder. You don't really use that when you're throwing. You don't use the muscles in your arm or shoulder when you're throwing. You use your rotator cuff, but it's still good to build the muscles around the rotator cuff so it has more to protect it in case of like an awkward throw where like it could put stress on your rotator cuff that's unnecessary and stuff like that. So, and then we have preacher curls that gets your bicep in a very stretched position. When you throw, there's a lot of pressure on your bicep in a stretched position, and that is the weakest part, or like weakest position your bicep can be in. So I felt it was very important to get that in. Hammer curls, that builds your brachialis, which is like the side of your bicep. Like it's in between your bicep and tricep. And then it gets like the top side of your forearm. The top side of your forearm, I personally don't. I don't think you do, but some people have pain there. It just helps build it up, strengthens it in case something were to happen. Same thing with the brachialis. It just helps build it up. And then single arm tricep. The triceps, you just needed to strengthen your triceps. That's just a big thing for throwing. You need to have triceps that can handle a lot of stuff. Dead hangs and 2 finger hangs. So dead hangs were just to build the forearms and grip strength. And And then the 2-finger hangs were to build up the fingers you actually throw with. 2-finger hangs are very hard. I'm not gonna lie, I've struggled with them. The most I've ever done is 10 seconds. But now we're gonna get into the strength side of things. So for the strength, you go down in reps each week. So you're supposed to start at 5 reps. The next 2 weeks after that is 3 reps, sorry. And then week 4 is 2 reps. And then week 5 is when we are supposed to be maxing out, and that's where we're at right now. So for Monday, we're supposed to have legs. It's 3 sets of the rep for the week. So week 1 of the strength phase is 5 reps. Week 2 and 3 is 3 reps. Week 4 is 2 reps, and then week 5 is 1 rep max. Each week you need to increase the weight so you're just barely able to get it up each week. And then on Mondays we supersetted that with vertical jumps. We'll drop into a vertical jump. That helps your body absorb energy when you drop down and then shoot back up. You do that a lot in like a pitching delivery. And then RDLs, that's just so you have something working your posterior chain. And then calf raises at the end. You don't really need calf raises. I just throw them in because I have small calves and it doesn't hurt to get some work in. And then, so Tuesday is a bench press or upper body day. I know you did dumbbell bench press. I apologize for not really paying attention to your reps or telling you how much it was, but it's the same thing. It's 5 reps, 3 reps, 3 reps, 2 reps, and then this week is supposed to be 1 rep, which it's kind of hard to do a 1 rep max on dumbbell bench press. So if you were to do max outs on that, I would recommend doing a 2 or 3 rep max. And then we superset that with explosive push-ups. That's the superset heavy, then drop down right into explosive, so your body's used to the heavy weight, but you're just exploding super fast. And then your chin-ups to build up the back, skull crushers for the triceps, and then you use your triceps in that same sort of motion during bench press, so that's why I used skull crushers. And then lateral raises, that's just to help build up the lateral head of your shoulder. I've already explained that. Thursdays, legs again, but it's focused on deadlift. For deadlift, I start with 3 reps, go 3 reps week 1 through 3. And then week 4 is when I go down to 2 reps. Week 5 is 1 rep max. I'll be doing that on Thursday. And then you need to increase the weight as much as you can each time. And then after that, you do squat, because you don't want to just squat once a week. I personally didn't take the second squat as serious. I usually dropped the weight about 10 to 15 pounds. That's just because you're already burnt out from deadlift. Deadlifting and squatting in the same day is very stressful on your body and your central nervous system. So I'd like to take that a little bit lighter, and then do a drop into a lateral jump. That's just same thing as the rest of it, just a heavy compound lift into a plyometric lift, just so you're going from heavy weight to moving fast. And then calf raises at the end if you had time, just because it doesn't hurt. And then Friday's another bench press day. I did not take, I usually dropped the weight by about 5 to 10 pounds. There were some weeks I did the same weight. It's the same thing with the reps. Already explained that. And then week 5 on Friday, I'm not going to do another 1 rep max. That just wouldn't be smart. So I'm doing 2 reps and just trying to keep the weight high until I go into that deload. And then I supersetted that with med ball slams. That helps build up the explosiveness in your back. And then after that, those 3 sets of regular bench press, I moved into close grip bench press because that works your triceps more, but it also builds up your chest in like a strength form. So, and then I supersetted that with explosive push-ups because I still want to use my chest and be explosive with my chest and my back in this entire strength phase. And then dumbbell rows and curls, that's just to build up your back and build up your biceps because you don't want to leave them out. And then we go into power. For lower body, we'll do Mondays we'll do box squat. This will be 3 sets of 4 to 6. I think it's smart to start out at 6 and work down to 4, but it's just what I feel like doing, honestly, at that point. And then Thursday is a trap bar deadlift. We'll do, obviously we'll warm up until our max thing. We'll do the same thing. It'd be 5 reps week. I'm pretty sure. So it's 3 weeks. So it'll be 5 reps, 3 reps. I'm going to change that actually. So it'll be 5, 4, 3 in reps for the weeks. So it'll be 5 reps week 1, 4 reps week 2, 3 reps week 3 of that. And then we'll warm up until our weight for the week. And then we'll do 1 set of just normal trap bar deadlift. And then the next 2 sets are going to be split stance. So the first one, you'll have your left foot forward. And then the second one, you'll have your back foot forward. And then obviously you'll switch for the next one. You should be able to do just as much weight in that way as you do on like a regular trap bar deadlift. And for this box jumps, we're going to super squat that with vertical jumps. It'll be the same as what we're doing right now for squat. And then on Thursday, after trap bar deadlifts, we're going to superset that with lateral jumps. And we're going to do drop off the box, jump one way, and then jump back in front of the box. So that works both sides. It helps you be explosive out of a landing position, and you'll do this both ways. And then we have banded RDLs. That's just RDLs, but we're going to have a band in there pulling your hips back, so you're using your glutes and hamstrings more than your back. And that helps you be a little more explosive because you're, I don't know how to explain it, just does. And then rotational landmines, we're only going to do 2 sets of these just because it's already a kind of longer workout. That's where the bar starts on the ground. You're on each side, or you're on one side of it. You pick it up with your hand, throw it up, catch it with your other hand, and push it the rest of the way up. I will have to show you those in person because I don't know how to explain it like this. And then reverse lunges, that'll just be 2 sets again. It'll be, it's just a bar on your back, like a squat. Your front leg, stay forward. Bring your back leg back just into a lunge. And then you shoot back up as fast as you can. We're going to do 2 sets of that. I don't know for sure if that'll be 2 sets each leg or 2 sets total. It just depends on how long this takes us because there is a lot included in this, and I want to be able to get through it in time and not be rushing through everything. And then lateral lunges, I'm pretty sure we've done those already in the on-ramp. But in case you forgot, that's just holding the weight like a goblet squat, dropping into a vertical shin position, like when you're pitching, and then just exploding out of it. And then for upper body, there'll be dumbbell bench. You've been doing that. And then try to go somewhat heavy, but also still need to be explosive. And then we are supersetting that with explosive push-ups, the same way that we've been doing. And then dumbbell rows, that'll be supersetted with incline single arm bench press. I love incline single arm bench press because you can get a very deep position and explode out of it, and it mimics the pitching delivery because you throw with like just your right side of your chest. You explode out of like a stretched position with your chest. Obviously, you need to do both sides so you don't get muscle imbalances and everything, but it's very specific towards that one part of the delivery. And then we have banded chin-ups. Normally I would just do chin-ups, but banded chin-ups help you be more explosive in a stretched position, and that's what we need. And then single arm lat pull downs that will help you get super deep in the stretch and then just pull it down as fast as you can. And then we'll also do arms, but that's optional. If you like have a bullpen or something like that and you just don't feel like it, we don't have to. I'm pretty sure that's Wednesdays and Saturdays that we'd have that. And then we go into the power speed phase. The power speed phase is being as fast as you can, but also moving decent weight. So for lower body, we're going to start off with sprints. Obviously, we'll properly warm up for that. But it's just two 40-yard sprints. It's nothing super serious. And then that's when we go into our box squats and trap bar deadlift. It'll be the same as the power phase. And then Monday we'll be supersetted with box jumps, and then Thursday will be supersetted. The first actual set will be supersetted with broad jumps, and the second one, or the second and third set will be supersetted with lateral jumps. With the first one will be specified on your right leg, and the second one will be on your left leg. And then reverse lunges supersetted with a split stance jump. There's just two sets of that. You'll know what a reverse lunge is by then. We'll be having done them for 3 weeks. The split stance jump, we're going to have a band coming down. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. I haven't really visualized it yet about how we're going to do that at the Y. But you're going to hold on to it and jump from a split stance position and flip legs each time. And then we end that with a banded RDL to work the posterior chain. And then it's upper body dumbbell bench, same thing as we have been doing, and then laying med ball push throws. So for that, I'll be standing over you, drop the ball like onto your chest. You'll catch it as it's coming down, and then once it hits your chest, you explode it back up and throw it as high as you can. And then after that, it'll be single arm bench press. That I've already talked about that. It's optional to do incline or not for this. And then we have pitcher rows. That's hard to explain. I'll explain it when we get there. And then banded chin-ups again, supersetted with med ball slams. And then obviously arms again, but that's optional. And then for the deload, we'll be going into this next week. It's just dumbbell bench, super light, working everything you can, just keeping everything feeling good and letting your body recover. And then this is your hybrid side of things. You'll be getting into this like when I am gone, and I'll be recovering from my surgery. So you have heavy dumbbell bench press. This is to build the strength, and you superset that with explosive push-ups. And then for your back, you'll be doing chin-ups, supersetted with med ball slams. And then you'll have rotational landmine press. You'll know what that is by then, and that'll be supersetted with med ball throws with 3 on each side. It is each side for rotational mind press too. You'll probably have to go out into the field house for the rotational med ball throws, because there's not much to do, or there's nowhere really to do it in the lifting area. And then you'll just have a little bit of arms, curls, and triceps, just 2 sets, just to get them working. And then lower body, you'll have box squats, be explosive as possible, but still move weight. Superset that with a vertical or lateral jump. I personally do not care, but I think you should have a mix of both. And then you'll have banded RDLs. That's just works your posterior chain and specifically on your glutes. Reverse lunges, hamstring curls, that will just build up your hamstrings more, increase hypertrophy, and then calf raises. So for the lifting days, we've basically got that covered. I've already talked about that. And then for your throwing, this is probably what you've been waiting for. I just felt it was important to explain everything for the lifting. So for throwing, you're at an on-ramp right now. You need to stay at the percent for the day. Percent of intent for the day. And then, so Sunday is a rest. You can do arm care. Each rest day, you can do arm care as much as you want, but don't throw. And then Monday and Thursday are recovery days. Those are just light throwing days to help build you into a longer long toss day where there'll be a few more throws and a little bit more activity going on. And then your long toss days, right now long toss is just running through those drills, 3 to 5 each day, or 3 to 5 throws each drill, and just keep it at the percent for the day. That is very important in the on-ramp. Once we get into the velocity phase, so Sunday will be a constrained long toss day. So a constraint drill, it would be something you can't, it's not just a normal throw. You're not adding momentum. So for my constrained long toss days, I did throws from one knee. I think that would help you a lot with your arm action. I also did, what are they called? Closed janitors. That helped me work on my back leg. But you can do whatever you want. For that, I'll send you, or once you get to that, I'll send you some drills you can do. This is only a 2-week phase, and that is very important because you have 3 high-intent days, and that will put stress on your arm. After 2 weeks, you will be burnt out. Like, it is more than you should be doing, but you also need to get that work in. So you have a constrained long toss day, recovery day, velocity day. Velocity day, I will have to send you the throws for that, and I might have to come with you for a day just to go over what each day is. And then Wednesday, Thursday recovery, that's preparing you for Friday. This is when I would recommend doing one knee throws because one knee throws aren't as stressful on your arm, and then you go into pull downs. And then you have either a rest or recovery day. I really don't care. You can throw if you want to, but I do recommend doing arm care, and then you're back to Sunday. And then you have a velocity phase with a bullpen. This is only 2 high intent days each week. So Sunday and Monday are both recovery days. You still want to throw, but you also want to just keep it light, let your body recover. Tuesday is a velocity focused bullpen. I'll go into what each thing is once I get to that, but that's basically just 15 to 25 pitches as hard as you can. And then you have 2 recovery days, and then the velocity day again. That will be the program, or not program, but throws I will send you once you get to that. Then you have mound week. So Sunday, it just depends how you feel. You can do either long toss or recovery. And then Monday is a recovery or a lighter throwing day because you're going into a bullpen the next day. Then you have 2 more recovery days to help prepare you for your bullpen on Friday. So you have 2 bullpens, and obviously do what the focus for the week is. And then the breakdown of each day, rest days, that's arm care or just nothing. Do mobility or your PT routine, just something to get your arm worked without actually using it. And then a recovery day. You want to do soft tissue work, break down the muscles, focus on your forearm. What I recommend is focus on the forearm if you want the top of your forearm, but I mainly mean the inside of your forearm. Get your bicep and your tricep. For you, your front delt. if you can, your lats, your rear delt, and your teres minor. That's like underneath your rear delt, kind of. You'll feel it. It is very tight if you hit it with a lacrosse ball. Other spots I recommend is like your lower back, legs, but if you don't have time, you don't have to hit everything. And then a warm up, get your blood flowing. That's like a dynamic warm up, such as like high knees, A skips, B skips, butt kicks, karaoke sprints, just something to get your body moving. I also do some like med ball throws, or like rotational med ball throws. Sometimes I'll do med ball slams. That's just preparing your body to move fast. And then do your arm care routine. Not necessarily an arm care routine, just bands. Get your like rotator cuffs, forearms, chest, back. They get all that ready to go. And then you go into your catch. This is usually at 50-60%. Run through the drills that I have for you. You don't need to do your 1 knee or 2 knee throws, or your whatever form of long toss throws you do. But yeah, so get those in, or get your, like, I think you have 3 drills, and then do your athletic drills. And you do like 5 throws each, and then just run through like 1 throw of each form of athletic drill. You can do whatever you want for the athletic drills, but just be loose. And then after that, do your arm care routine. This is where you really focus on building the strength in your rotator cuffs, your shoulder, everything like that. Then you do long toss. I would recommend doing soft tissue work, but you don't have to. It's not really that big of a deal. It just helps prevent injuries. Go into your mobility, warm up, corrective work. I'll have to explain corrective work to you. It's kind of hard to explain in this video, but yeah. And then go into your bands. You can do plyos if you want to, but I personally didn't. But I was also running on like not very much time, because I did it during one period. I had about 25 minutes to get everything in, and it took a lot more than 25 minutes to do that. And then go into your long toss. Start light, obviously, just like normal long toss. When you're in your on-ramp, you're still running through your drills. Just keep it on an arc as you're doing that. And then once you get into your velocity phase, you'll be picking your constrained drill. And you'll go, like, if you're throwing into a net, you'll start low, work up as high as you can, and feeling like you're throwing it as far as you can. And then I know you don't have a pocket radar. You might be able to use mine, but I don't know for sure. You'll be lowering where you're throwing on the net and record that velocity. And then you're going to try and beat your highest number from that each week. So once you get to you'll have 10 throws working. You should have 20 to 25 throws working out, and 10 working in. You'll lower each throw coming in, and once you get to about even, like just throwing like straight on a line, you want to be throwing as hard as you can, trying to beat your number from last week. And then after that, you go into your bands and arm care routine, build up the strength. Oops, didn't mean to do that. All right, and then you get into long toss with pull downs, mobility, obviously all this stuff. Get your bands in. I recommend doing plyos, but you don't have to. And then you do your long toss. You will usually be doing a constraint drill for this. I don't have it listed, but you should be doing a constraint drill out to a max arc as far as you can, and then work your way in, just like with long toss. Record the velocity on that, and then do 3 to 8 pull downs after that. You want to beat your pull down record each week. Obviously, that's probably not going to happen, but that is your goal. and then you go into, hey, look at my phone percent, that's kind of funny. And then you do your bands and arm care routine. The velocity phase, you start with soft tissue work, mobility, everything you do for a normal warm-up. Get plyos in, some light catch just to get used to the feeling of throwing a ball and getting your drills in so your mechanics are in line. And then you go through this, a pull down. You know what a pull down is. You're going to have weighted balls. I can probably give you mine, but I do need those back once you're done with them. So a pull down, you know how to do a pull down. A drop step pickoff is it's like a turn and burn. You're just run backwards as fast as you can, open up at the last second, and throw it as hard as you can. And then 430, I've explained it to you in the last video I sent you. It's basically just fielding a backhand at short and then throwing to first. You want to be running it. So think about it like a clock. So 430 would be like you're running at a diagonal angle towards the middle, and then you plant with your front foot, catch yourself with your back foot, and then throw off your back foot. And then shortstop double play, you're just rolling a double play like your shortstop. 9 o'clock drill was that one I showed you. Think you're still running from like it's on a clock. 9 o'clock, spin, plant, throw. I think that's all for that. Obviously, I can help you with that as well when you get to that. Then your velocity bullpen. Same warm-up as everything. Get your plyos in. If you need to do some light catch before your bullpen, do that. You have 15 to 25 max effort fastballs. That's as hard as you can. If you want, get some caffeine, some loud music, hype yourself up. If you have some, use smelling salts. Just like literally anything to throw is absolutely as hard as you can. And then once you finish with your fastballs, you just throw a few off speeds just to get a feel for them. And make sure you are throwing strikes during this. You'll be throwing into a 9 pocket most likely, but make sure you stay in the zone. And then do your arm care after that. And then once you get into the mound phase, you'll have your just regular bullpen. You have soft tissue work, mobility, blood flow, corrective work, bands, plyos, light catch, and then a 20 to 40 pitch bullpen. As you get further into it, you'll want to increase the amount of pitches you throw because we throw a lot for school baseball, and I don't want you to be underprepared for that. And then obviously your band work again. And then that's all. That will get you until the last week of January, and then that's when we'll start our school throwing. And then if you want, I can get you a program during that to because Weiterberg's is good, but it's also only 2 days a week, so it doesn't really do a whole lot for you. But that's all he really can do right now. So just let me know if you want to do that.